Hey everyone on YouTube, how you guys doing? All right. Hopefully there's some of you out there. I don't know actually. I put this up for 6 o'clock British Standard Time, but I'm not convinced there's a huge amount of you actually waiting for me or waiting to see what goes on. But we'll keep a go. I see like one viewer. Yeah, this will probably just be a bit of a solo stream at this rate, but like I say, you can't get lots of people on every single stream. You know, everybody's got lives and everybody's got things to do, so we'll just carry on and see how this goes. So I am looking at Runestones here. So, and oh yeah, some of you might be on the Gen Con online one. Oh well, fair enough. So we're looking at Runestones. Runestones is a pretty, I don't know why the camera did that, pretty underrated deck builder actually. It's one where you very generic, like you've got to get points, whatever the theme, doesn't matter, you know. So you're getting points by converting little artifacts like these little tokens here, like the red, green, blue, yellow, and grays, and you're building these orbs. But the twist with this is, like every other deck builder, you start off with the basic deck and then you try and build it up. But what you do in terms of the playing of the cards is rather interesting. You play 2 cards at once, and then what you're doing is, depending on what numbers are on those cards, the one with the lower number goes back into your discard pile and you retain it. Whereas the one with a higher number, if it's a starter card, it gets trashed. If it's a normal communal bought card, then it goes back into the communal discard pile and you've got to reacquire it or just not get it ever again. So not only do you have the idea of, oh, I'm keying off 2 really cool abilities, it's more the fact that, oh yeah, I've got to decide, oh, do I want this card to go away or do I not? And that little bit of extra decision making is just, I don't know, kind of interesting really. So, yeah, it's something I like to see with deck builders, you know, throwing a bit of innovation here. And it's not often I have a lot of games or play a lot of games with Queen Games as the publisher. So in terms of an insert, does this really need one? Hard pressed to say. Anything that speeds up the setup of a game is good, but it's not like this game had like a huge problem when it came to setting things up. Although, I will say, putting this together was not particularly difficult at all. In fact, should be able to show you something quite nice here, if I can find it. So you can see the assembly video right here. And as you can see, it's not particularly difficult, although these card trays were a little bit on the temperamental side, because you've got to get the edges on pretty well, and as you can see, there's a lot of spokes, a lot of hooks, because this thing does not require glue, and as I'm finding just then, it's like, it's a bit temperamental, especially if you get it on the wrong way around, like I just did, and then have to try and get them out again. Believe me, it's a bit of a nightmare. Now this one, you need to be careful. Make certain you have got the exact bits in this middle part here with the star before you start, otherwise it will not fit. The rest of it is just boggo standard rectangular trays, really. Just like put them in, put the middle bits in, and then put the edges around, and it is dirt simple to do so, although because the edges are quite long, it may just require a little bit of forcing hand. And in here, again, you've just got a fairly generic box, different sides, but all in all, it makes for a fairly pretty package and not too bad. The star thing there is probably the more fiddly bit, because I don't think they're all the same length. Either that or I think there was a couple there that just didn't quite fit as well. So whatever the instructions tell you with the star, make certain you follow them. And you might just need a little bit of dexterous hands in order to deal with the rest of it. However, on top of that, you've also got these really cool overlays. So just like with Maracaibo, you've got these plastic overlays, and I've slowed the video down so you can kind of see. And with these, the screwdriver is not necessary. This is the first one I bought for overlays, and I didn't realize you didn't need the screwdriver, so ignore that. But basically, you just get the wooden board, you put these plastic dividers in first so that you can position the board, and then you slot the board in and then put the plastic sheet over the top, and then that kind of works. Doesn't take too long once you get the hang of it, and they do give you a lot of spares, so even if you drop one on the floor and never see it again, the dog eats it or something, you should be fine. Doesn't take too long. I use a kind of balancing method to try and get the screws in first, and I say they're screws, but they have got rounded caps on them, so it's not too bad. You shouldn't have too much problems. Right, let's get back to this setup. Shame that there is nobody in chat, but like I say, it's Gen Con Online. It's 6 o'clock on a Thursday evening. There's a good chance that people are just busy and not available, which is fine. I'm going to still do the video anyway. So, with the overlays themselves, as you can see, camera is now on a spoke thing up there, so this should be a much higher thing. And yes, it's going to be quite bright. There is lights here, but as you can see, the overlay is not too bad. It's got the 2 parts for extra abilities. You've got your stones at the top where you put your rune stones in that give you special abilities. This bit is just covered up down here, and then you've got a circular part along with the little finger hole in order to get the orb out. The only minor thing that's not that big of a deal, but if you look at where the orb is, like the color orb, the jewel, in relation to the circle cutouts, you'll notice that some of them are lined up a bit better than others. Yeah, the green is not too bad, the red is okay, the yellow almost looks like it's out of place. That's nothing to do with how you put the board in that. It's just that's the way it is. You know, this is how it is fixed. And so it's not going to be like, oh, dead center for the cutout. But then I guess they've only got so much room to work with. So as you can see, there's only so much plastic between the circles. But it does its job very nicely. And you might be able to see the Runestones will slot in that part. So was it overly necessary? Not particularly, but it's a nice addition. I mean, you do end up with orbs on this thing quite often, and you don't want them sliding about or getting mixed up between the 2 rows because you can only deal with like 1 row at a time. So I'm happy to have them. I just don't think they were like overly essential. But that's 4 of them. So 4 players, 4 things, but we will get onto that later. First, we're going to figure out how to get the rest of the stuff in. Now, I am going blind, as I typically do. I'm not even looking at a picture of the setup anymore. So, on this occasion, I literally am just going in blind. But, no blinder than usual. So, let's get the board out. That's fine. I don't know why the camera keeps flickering between it. It may be because the webcam's higher up this time, but I'm just going to take stuff out. Now, this also has the added complication of having an expansion in there. So, as well as having to deal with, you know, the base set, I've now got to deal with the expansion. But I am told by the publisher of this, E-Raptor, that it caters for expansions, as in plural. So, in other words, it should cater for the Nocturnal one, which I've got, and also anything else. And yeah, Queen Games, nobody likes these stupid things. You know, these like cardboard separators in boxes. Stop that now. Okay, it didn't work with Baron Parg. It's not working with this. It's a pointless way to build a cheap insert because you can't be bothered to like do it properly yourself. But I'll be glad to see that go. And even though it's nice artwork on there, I won't say no to chucking it away. Okie doke. All right, well, let's see what we got then. So we got a bunch of rule books. We're going to dish those out of the way for the moment. I haven't actually tried the Nocturnal expansion with this yet. I mean, this is something I want to try and do. But we're going to put the box out of the way for the moment and focus on these. So we've got card trays. We have got... Let's do the star one first. This should be relatively straightforward. This is obviously going to be for the coloured beads. So let's empty those out and get them separated. Do they need to be separated? I don't know. But, oh well, you know, anything organised is organised. And I suppose it does mean that you can literally just plonk this out on the table and reach in for it when you need it. So let's get on with that. It's a shame that everyone is kind of busy, but that's fine. Gen Con, I chose this timing. You know, I need to get these streams done. And at least you can watch them a little bit later. But feel free to check out the other 2 streams, Maracaibo and which one was the other one? 7 Wonders, where there was a bit of chat going. Failing that, go check out the first stream I did, my first official live stream, which was a big, long 90-minute chat with about 50-odd people in chat. We had a good time. It was great. It was my first time making a stream. I was absolutely like making kittens, and yet it still did all right. So I'm glad it went okay. And just check that everything is kind of working. I believe it should be. Yeah, concurrent viewers. We got some viewers. We just need a few people to start talking. Oh no, some people have started talking. It just hasn't shown up on the screen yet because my camera covers some of the things. So by all means, if you are in chat, then by all means just keep chatting, get the screen scrolling, and then we'll start seeing your text. So hello to you, Craig, hello to you, Vala, and hello to you, Dean. But of course, let's keep going and get the viewership up. So going back to what I was doing. It is quite a nice looking game, actually. The artwork is very colourful. You've got these coloured beads. The artwork on the cards, as I'll show you a bit later, is very nicely done. And overall, I like them. I like the way this looks. This is very pretty for a Queen game. And not a problem with that. So, whoop. it does certainly turn a few heads when it's on the table. That certainly goes without saying. And mainly because people have barely heard of this. I mean, it appeared, I think, around Essen time, possibly something like that. But that's about it, really. It just kind of appeared. A friend of mine suggested it for ages. I never got around to getting it. And then I think I bought it at Essen. And then since then, I thought, oh, yeah, this is a pretty sweet game. So I'll go with it. Aha, here we go. So we finally got some chat scrolling. I might redo the stream screen a bit because, like I say, I mean, the first like 6, 7, 8 lines of chat don't tend to show up until later. So I have to kind of rely on the pop out until then. So who is the designer of the game? Well, the designer is Rudiger Dawn. It's a kind of a hard one to pronounce. I'm not entirely certain if I've got that. Rudiger, I assume, but Rudiger Dawn by Queen Games. And again, just not that well heard of. It's one that just kind of appeared and is not yet disappeared. You can still get it, and it's relatively cheap, I think, for what it is, but just not else with it, really, which is kind of a shame. I want to see more with it. So let's see what we got. We have got big tray, which I'm going to assume is probably going to need to hold Rune Stones and the like. So let's have a look. So we got these tokens, which I suspect go in these trays. So we'll keep those handy. And then Nocturnal, they're not. Are they going to have their separate trays, or am I going to have to deal with them later? But there's Runestones, which I definitely want to get in there. So let's see how we get on. What game mechanics are in it? I mentioned this a bit earlier before people started arriving, but essentially it's a deck builder. Straight up deck builder, engine builder of collecting these gems, cashing them in to build these orbs on your board, and then cashing in sets of these orbs for points. The more in the set that you can do, the more they're worth. But the costs of actually producing these things vary depending on what position they are on the board, which I'll show you a bit later. But the twist with this, as I mentioned before, is that playing 2 ability cards from your hand is how you do your turn. And the one with the higher number goes back to the discard pile of the communal deck. So you don't always retain the card you play unless you are crafty with how you play it with respect to those numbers. So you quickly want to trash your starting cards out of there, but then you also don't want to start losing your really good card. I just got Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion, and Back to the Future, Dice Through Time. Is that like an awesome game, that Back to the Future one? Because I kind of rolled my eyes when I saw it and thought, oh, great, here we go, cash in. You know, this is going to be a thing. But I'm hearing some good stuff about it. I mean, is it actually a good game, the Back to the Future one? I mean, I love the films, so I mean, if it is good, I wouldn't say no to having it just for theme nostalgia alone. But yeah, just kind of maybe a little bit like, huh? when it came on the scene. I love deck builders, so do I, Dean, so do I. Deck builders is one of my favorite types of games, providing the deck building is the sole focus. And this is what I go on about with things like Great Western Trail and a few other games, where deck building is slotted in as a side thing, a side mechanic. I don't like it when it's like that because, I don't know, as if the game itself wouldn't necessarily detract from the theme. Adding in deck building for no reason other than just to have deck building removes the theme even more. Like the cows in Great Western Trail, I keep going on about them, but it's like, why do you deck build the cows? It makes no sense. There's no thematic reason for it. It's just to throw in another mechanic for the sake of having mechanics in my Euro game. That's the only excuse that they have. Why was it not just simply tableau building? What's the excuse? So I don't like it when it's just a sideshow. But Dominion, Runestones. I did a top 10 deck builders recently, I should know. Valley of the Kings, Dale of Merchants, Marvel Legendaries, the Legendary Encounters, the card crafting games, Mystic Vale, Edge of Darkness. The focus is deck building and card crafting then. So love it. Hi, can I pronounce that? Cats. Can I just call you Cats? Would that be easier? You haven't missed too much. I mean, I was getting a bit lonely at first because I was just by my lonesome doing an introduction to the video, and it was like, oh, there are a few people here. Thank goodness. You know, coupling this with the Gen Con online thing was probably having a bit of an impact. So can't really, there was only so much I could do on that front. Cats is fine, thank you. Hi, Luke. Hi. Oop, I'm gonna tilt this microphone this way so I can see. Hi, Nuri. Hi, Luke. You like Sentinels? What's your opinion on Zaon's End? Zaon's End, yes, and that's another deck builder. With Xeon's End, I do like it, but the generic fantasy thing just doesn't really grab me. I kind of prefer, honestly, playing. Let's put those in there for now. I prefer Sentinels because I love superheroes, so the theme gets me more in that one. The portal mechanic in Xeon's End, it's fine, but I find it a little bit fiddly to sort of have to deal with on top of random turn mechanic and the normal bookkeeping of dealing with all the stuff. But the game is fine. I like it. It's just it felt a little bit too similar to Sentinels for me, and just added one or two things to Sentinels that I just wasn't really that keen on. But if somebody suggested, "Oh, can we play this Xeon's End," and they didn't have Sentinels, I'd be perfectly fine with that. I would not have a problem. Now, I don't know if I'm really supposed to be putting the Runestones in a separate thing, but the thing is, this is supposed to deal with expansions. So I think the idea is that you can pretty much stack this however you like, and just wait for the expansions to come out, because I think we're due a second expansion for this in the near future. I've already got one expansion here that I'm going to put in this box, but that should be just fine. Do I have room to separate these out entirely? No, not really, so fine. I mean, you can just mix and match them. I think the idea is that when more expansions come out, I can separate these a bit. And it's a little bit bright, so I'm just going to turn a bit. There we go, so it's not glaring quite so much. What have we got to sing? Because this is only going to be a short insert, so let's chat to you guys a bit more. Recently on sale on Amazon, sadly I missed it. Shame. It's not that expensive a game though, so you should be able to get hold of it. My free deck builders are Xeon's End, Shards of Infinity, and Tyrants of the Other Dark. Shards of Infinity I've only played once. I find it fine. I'm just more used to Star Realms now, because I think Shards of Infinity was kind of like Star Realms with a couple of extra bits. But I like it's alright, it's fine, it just didn't grab me. And Tyrants and the Underdark, again, it's back to that whole thing of a side mechanic. Tyrants, theme-wise, is like dry as a bone, and the area control thing, I don't go mad for area control games anyway, but the game itself was fine. But I pretty much liked it solely for the deck building aspect of it, and the deck building is only half the game. The other half is doing the area control. It's a bit like how Clank works in that respect. Half of it is the deck building, and half of it is the maneuvering around the board and dealing with the most inept dragon of all time, which never seems to eat anybody. But, well, this is just kind of the way it works. Clank Legacy probably is. I've not played the Legacy version, but I would not say no to trying it. Xeon's End New Age is really good. What's New Age? That's not the Legacy version, so what's New Age? Is that a sequel that's come out, or is that just an expansion that there was? I haven't really paid much attention to Xeon's End. And haven't heard of Tyrants, I'll have to check it out. Thanks for mentioning it. Yep, sweet. Xeon's End is on sale on Steam. Oh, the Steam version? Maybe the Steam version's better, I don't know. So we're finding out. Now, I've just realised the reason that I've got probably too many of these Runestones is probably because they're including expansion ones as well, but as I say, I'm just going to pop them in. I'm not too fussed about getting them into sets, because at the end of the day, it's pretty easy to separate these out. There's no real reason that you need to be too concerned with it. Now, do I have to take this chair apart, or can I... Well, it's taking itself apart, to be honest, but hopefully I don't have to. But I guess maybe I do. And to be fair, it's not exactly that useful a piece anyway, so what difference does it make whether it does come apart? So I'm just going to pop them in there for now and dismantle it. That's a first player marker, so we'll leave that in there. That is an expansion board. Dice. I'll assume it goes in there because that seems pretty good. Charterstone full of bugs. Probably. I mean, the main... I don't know why the camera is doing that. I'll have to see. I notice it's flickering every now and again depending on what I do, but hopefully it's not too distracting. This is why it's hard for me to do these dual cam setups. I'm much more suited to just that one cam in a live stream. But I will be doing some app plays in the future, so where I play on the screen and play a Steam app like Smash Up and Mystic Vale. I'll play some computer games on here while chatting to you guys. So, board game plays, basically. That should be a lot easier. I can set that up on here pretty easily. And as you got from my first live stream, that went pretty well as well. One New Age is the one that you can level up and fight enemies consecutively. Consecutively? What, like, oh, what, you mean kill one major bad guy and instantly go on to another one? That seems insanely hard. Is that a good thing? Right, now, this is supposed to cater for expansions. Now, where am I going to put these? Now, maybe the better thing to do is to put the Runestones in here as one big collective thing. If you can't separate them, then don't bother. That might be a better idea, because then they can all go in there, and they should be able to fit without too much trouble. In theory. Everything's always a theory with me. And then by doing that, yep, that's fine. So with those in there, it means I can use these to put some of these Nocturnal components in, which to be fair, I've yet to actually use Nocturnal in this set, but apparently it adds a bit more conflict, and it does the classic thing with these deck builders of adding more cards, which is always good. There is never anything wrong with adding more cards. So let's have a look here. So these are just Nocturnal tiles. They shouldn't be too difficult. In fact, I wonder if I can fit them in like that. Nah, it's not particularly worth it. Let's not do that. Not do that. Let's just put a bunch in here and a bunch in there, and they can slide down and fill up spaces if they want. That's perfectly fine as long as it doesn't go above the line. This first turn marker can just go here along with the dismantled throne. And then these, which are any which way but loose guesswork, really, because I've not used this expansion yet. I really should get it used. I've only played this game to teach it to people, so I haven't wanted to throw the expansion in just yet, but I think I might make a change on that. There we got those in there, and supposedly this board will go in. Okay, so that's a good start. We've got pieces in, nice and easy. Now we can focus on the cards, which hopefully is not going to be a major problem. Let's go with this. So let's get these bags to one side. So I can show you a bit of the artwork now. Viticulture is a great digital app on Android, though. Yes, I have played Viticulture on... I haven't played it on the Android device. I have got it on Steam, though. They sent me a key and I did a playthrough video. So look back about a month or two, a couple of months back, and you'll get a solo play against the AI from me. So I did that on the channel, on the other PC with a headset, but it was the best I could do. But maybe I'll do a future playthrough of the Steam app on here with this microphone, so it sounds a lot better. I'll do that as one of the plays, actually. And I found it enjoyable. It's not perfect. The app is a little bit unintuitive at times. It does have some annoying settings that you need to tweak, and the AI is not exactly the most intelligent of AIs, but it gives me Viticulture in a box, and unfortunately it's just the Essentials one. I really would love it to get some of the, the Tuscany add-ons, because Viticulture down there is incomplete without the Tuscany bits there. I want those structures. I want the mamas and papas. Well, you get the mamas and papas, but I need the structures. I need that revised board with the extra seasons. I definitely want that. And there's some of those advanced visitor cards. You know, you only get those in the Tuscany Essentials box or normal Tuscany. Anyway, let me show you some of these cards here. So, an example. See if I can show you some of these. So that is a typical card in this game. And now, as you can see, it has the effect on the... Now, it's double-sided, so you can... If you're left or right-handed, you can play this game just fine, which is good. It's a... so, I mean, if I show you the dragon, for example, there you go. So it's the exact same thing on both sides. So left-handed, right-handed, doesn't matter. So I'm right-handed, but for some of you out there, this will be a good thing. Now, the effect is on, in fact, a better example would be to show you this lovely lady here. Look at her, see? Take her on a night out. Now, you can see that there's colored symbols at the top. So this is where you spend the card to buy other cards. This is the currency. You have red, green, yellow, blue, you have all the colors, but in order to buy cards, it doesn't matter what color you're using. It's more that, at least I don't think it matters what color you're using, don't quote me on that, but it's the fact that you can only spend dots of the same color to buy cards, so you can't mix and match them all the time. And the dragon had a wild symbol, so you can get those. But with this, you get the effect on the left. So, well, you get the effect on the side. So this one would give me 2 green gems, for example. And there's that number, the important number. So let's, for example, say I decide I want to play those 2 cards. Those 2 cards there. I would get any gem of my choice, a red gem, and then 2 green gems. I can resolve these in any order I like, doesn't matter. Is it the camera? The cards look big. Well, I'm holding them relatively close, but the camera is also quite high up. So originally the camera was literally where my cards are, practically on a tripod. The camera is now probably an extra foot up in the air because I've got it on one of these extendable arms like my other one. And it's causing a little bit of a weird camera flicker depending where I put things in the photo, but it is allowing me to show more of the table. But yeah, if I was to play these two cards, I would retain the 41 on the right, but the 65 would go back to the communal discard pile. So it's like, do I want to get rid of the 65? I don't know. Maybe I want to keep the 65 and instead I decide to play this 79 card. Here we go. Yeah, if I play that, then I get whatever the effect is there on the left, something to do with money and currency. It's a Nocturnal card, so I don't actually know its effect. But if I play those two, then this one goes away and I get to retain the 65. And this is just a simple yet really interesting aspect of decision making that you got to make with this game. It's just really cool. Good to see left-handed being considered for the cards. Yes, that is definitely a factor. I mean, for me, pretty much everything is kind of designed for right-handed, so I get off scot-free, but, I do respect that. I sympathize that for left-handed people, it's a little bit more of a problem. Now, what goes in these? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trays. So this looks like it's for starting player cards. Now, I previously had them all bagged up along with their player piece. So I'm going to take all of those out and retain the player pawn piece. I mean, it was easy to just chuck these in front of people beforehand, but if this is the way it must be, then it is the way it must be. Come on. I want to rip the bag. I want to use the bag again. Ah! Get out of there. Tired today. Work is running me to the bone this week. But I have some more spare time tonight to maybe do some editing on a board game glossary video that I want to release next week. Or prepare for the podcast on Sunday, but I've also got the one stream left to do on Saturday morning for the Tainted Grail insert, so feel free to join in there. So those I'm just going to pop in the box over there. So I have not sleeved these cards. I have a feeling I should probably do so at some point. In fact, I bought some sleeves recently. I really should do some sleeving, and why is it doing that flicker? I really don't know. But let's try and put it more in the center so it can't mess around. Cool. So I'm just going to put starter cards in there because that seems the most logical place to put them for now. One in there and this one on top there. So that looks like it will handle starter cards reasonably well. And it's even got a little cuppy hold there on the side. I'm not entirely certain what you're supposed to put in there. I suppose actually this would be a good place to put the... Yeah, maybe it's a good place to put the character markers. Why not? Put them in there. Keeps them in one piece. As I say, this is catering for expansion, so further down the line, there'll be more reason to. Nope. Now we've got this weird one. Now this one has a door on it to open, and then things can go in there. Now the question is, that's clearly not for the cards. At least I don't think it is. I mean, I could put the cards in there, but that just seems like a weird way to do it. But then, saying that, unless you are separating the Nocturnal expansion out of these cards, you don't need to separate these all. This is just one big communal deck. And the Nocturnal ones, you can kind of tell where they are anyway, because they're all sort of blue, red, white, green, and normal colors. And then eventually you get, well, I mean, they're all mixed in with the colors, but you get these nasty looking creatures who clearly are Nocturnal. Although, come to think of it, I don't see any differentiation for expansions on this. I've just noticed. Some of these I know are base set anyway, but the only way that you know that they're Nocturnal cards is the fact that they're all this Screaming Banshee picture. I don't think there's another picture for the Nocturnal ones. I think it's all the Screaming Banshee. Yeah, it's Screaming Banshee. So you need to know that to separate the cards. Not a big deal, but okay, fine. So I'm just going to put them in there in one big go for now. I suspect if I sleeve them, they'll take up more space, and I will sleeve them. I think I've decided I will sleeve this game, but I will worry about that on another time, so off the video. It's not going to take me much longer to pack this game away, so by all means, feel free to get some more questions in the chat, so I can take this to, say, like a 45-minute long stream, and we'll go with it. Right, so, rulebooks, Nocturnal, I seem to have the German rules for this game. even though I don't speak any German anymore. But, oh well, if they fit in the box, keep them. You know, it's nice. Thanks, Razzle, for the wishful thinking. I mean, I wish this could be more professional, like some other live shows, but the only way that can be done is to have a DSLR camera doing this instead of a webcam, and unfortunately, not going to happen. I do not have the setup and budget to have the DSLR mounted like up there on the ceiling or something. It's just not going to work. But that's only for these playthroughs anyway. These playthroughs are a bit more temperamental. Any other stream I do is on my laptop, fixed, thrown at me, and it's really good. I personally like it anyway. Now, the question is, how is this all going to fit in here? So, will I make a playthrough of Runestones? Well, the only way I can do that is if there's someone else here to play it with me. And I don't do rules teaching videos, so it doesn't really help in doing that. Now, as far as I'm aware, I haven't done a review of Runestones. I don't think I have. So if I get a chance, either on a video or on the podcast, I will try and do a mini review of Runestones, just so that I can give people more of an idea of what it's about. But yeah, I think this one skipped the review channel in a sense. So yeah, we'll see about that in the future. Actually, that might be a good one. But yeah, I mean, a playthrough would only happen if I had someone else here to play it, because there is no solo mode in it. So it just has to be that way. So let's see how these are meant to go in here, because I don't actually know. So 2 cards should be able to go in there. This giant tray, I guess, is going to take up most of the box. So let's slot that in there. This, I suppose, can go. I suppose it doesn't matter too much where it goes, but let's see if I can put this star shape. Slot that in there. Let's knock down flat. Need it flat before I am satisfied. Doesn't seem like there's enough room to get it down flat. Less, maybe if I turn it this way. Aha, genius. Genius, okay. No instructions. There are... Well, this is the problem with E-Raptor inserts, and it is a problem with them. They have instructions for building the thing, which are fine, but the only instructions you have for packing it away in the box are pictures on the website, and on a phone or an iPad, they're not shown up very big, and on the desktop, I'd have to keep messing around with the PC. Now, for the last 2 inserts I've streamed this week, I did look at the pictures because it was kind of necessary. With something like this is quite a simple game. I would like to hope that I could just go into it blind and figure it out, but I can't imagine it's any different to what I've got here, to be perfectly honest. So, you know, there's no other way I could see that it would possibly fit together. But that's in there. So now, these things, if you weren't here earlier, then you can see these really cool overlays. They've got rounded screw caps on there, so there's nothing poking out that's sharp or anything like that. And yes, I know the picture and the thing doesn't entirely line up with exactly where the circle is, but it's not a huge deal because you know where the thing's got to go. They've only got so much plastic to work with because these are big things, but it is cool that you can put things in there to hold them in place. The orbs will go in here just fine. You can still read the conversion rate for victory points at the bottom. And with the top bit, you can get these in there. So the Runestones basically slide in there and are held in place. Because normally it would just be like that on your board. And now they are actually slot in place. And I can sort of like, let's see, there's a jiggle test. It's not falling out. Okay, upside down test. All right, failed the upside down test. But frankly, if you're trying to play this game upside down, then you kind of only have yourself to blame. All right, and just to test. Yep, sits in there just fine. Little bit of wiggle room. Finger hole. There you go. In they go. So overlays, pretty solid, actually. Kind of like them, actually. I mean, yes, they're not essential. You don't need them in this game, but I'm not going to say no to the fact that I have them. So let's pump those in. I had that issue with Suburbia Collector's Edition. Yes, I've got Suburbia Collector's Edition, and I have the same exact problem where putting it away is a bit of a bugbear. Like, I need to find some source or a really good, was it a jiggle test? I thought the stream was PG. Well, PG's fine. We can get away with so much with PG or PG-13 these days, so I don't think that's going to offend too many people. Me talking bad about somebody's favorite game will offend more people than that. Anyway, right, so let's not put the rulebooks in yet. Let's put in the board. So where is said board? Down there. Bye-bye, stupid dividers. Yeah, kid you not, that was the previous insert for those of you who missed it earlier. That, in the box, was the previous insert. Bye-bye. Stupid. I hate it when people were lazy with that. So, in that goes. It's a little bit high that side because of the card stacks, but not enough to get it out of the box. That is fine. As long as we don't end up with any more boards in this set, we're good. 2 rulebooks, mainly because of multiple languages, although to be honest, well, I don't think I'm never going to really sell this game because I really enjoy it, but keep them anyway. I always feel bad about throwing out components, even though it's rulebooks for German and French, which I'm never going to speak fluently in my life. You'd think I wouldn't mind, but oh well. There we go. Runestones. Again, that camera. Don't know why it does that, but yeah, it's a sweet game. I'll do some video or podcast and talk about it in more detail at some point, because I know it's not exactly well heard of by people, and some want to know more. And yeah, maybe it's about time I actually did that. This stream sponsored by Mint Tea. So I'm going to, seeing as that it's still got a few minutes in that left, I'm just going to put this back onto proper stream. There we go. Yep. Big camera, and now I can see the full live chat. So just run some questions, or I'll talk about the channel or anything like that. I'll keep this going for a bit longer, and feel free to spout out anything, even if it's just quick fire round, like this or this, and I'll try and answer it. Anything. Just fill up that chat and get some quotes in there. But yeah, I mean, just generally, the next stream I've got is Saturday morning. So that's definitely a thing, and that's going to be the Tainted Grail insert, which, to be fair, doesn't have much to assemble in the box. It's basically one great big, square setup. So I've literally got to get the box and go thunk, and that's the insert in there. It's more a case of figuring out where the different components are going to go, and there's quite a few, so that's going to be the tricky bit. But that'll be the last one, and that'll be Saturday evening. I'm doing that one. After that, there'll be a podcast on Sunday, which will probably be quite a general podcast, just like, what's moved in and out of the collection, ratings, talking about general things, so not too bad. And then next Wednesday, I should have a video out this time, a proper video, which will be the start of a 2 or 3 part series. I don't know when I'll release the rest of the videos, either once a week or 2 in a week. And it will be a 3-part glossary where I'm going to go over lots of board gaming definitions and just do the terms. And I'm using that as a kind of like, are you new to gaming? Come and watch this video. Hopefully I'll explain more. And then I'll try and do streams every now and again of me either just talking Q&A or playing games on here. Like I said, the Steam apps. So we'll see how we go. Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? Definitely Lord of the Rings. I do like both. I like both. I mean, can you see? Yes. Hopefully you can see 2 Star Wars games there in the background. I do like Star Wars, but I'm more of a casual Star Wars viewer. I do not get so ho-hum on, oh my god, Disney destroyed Star Wars and all that nonsense. It's like, yes, okay. People rag on the recent trilogy so much. I like episode 7, all right? I can't watch A New Hope anymore. It's too dated. I can't watch the Obi-Wan Darth Vader fight without giggling because it's just like, It's 2 old people fighting. But the number 7 is pretty much A New Hope redone, remastered. Great. And I thought it was really good. It was shot really well. Liked it. I was fine with The Last Jedi. I hated the casino stuff, and it drags a bit in the middle, and there's some weird plot elements. Yes, I get it. The dumb captain of the ship and the whole casino thing, complete waste of time. But everything else in it, Luke, Rey, the space battles themselves, the bit on the end with the assault planes and that, brilliant. And I liked the way that it was going in different directions. I was totally up for it. Rise of Skywalker or whatever it was, yeah, it's an enjoyable popcorn flick, but plot-wise, it's complete bonkers with a million plot holes and tropes. So that one was a bit of a letdown. But I mean, the prequels I think were worse, so it's not exactly much. But I like Star Wars. I played Force Order, Last Order, Final Order, or whatever it is, the recent Jedi Fallen Order game. That was really good. And I've got Outer Rim and I've got Rebellion on my shelf. I do like Star Wars, but Lord of the Rings, getting back to the question, far better. Lord of the Rings is a great one. I've listened to the audiobook in full, like that thing, and believe me, if they tried to adapt the actual book into the movie word for word, it would be a 20-hour musical. But I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love the characters. I've got the LCG up there. I've got Journeys in Middle-earth down there. I will pretty much play any game you throw in front of me that is Lord of the Rings theme. For starters, I don't think it's possible to make an economic game from Lord of the Rings, so I should be free of that. And certainly there are no trains in Lord of the Rings, so I can't have a train game for Lord of the Rings. But I just love that. That is my quintessential fantasy epic, where somebody tells me, right, what is your quintessential fantasy thing of elves, goblins, humans, typical fantasy races, typical spells and wizards and that. What's my go-to? It's Lord of the Rings. There was Dungeons and Dragons in the old days, and there's Hero Quest and a few other things, but my go-to, I just want to watch classic orcs and goblins, men and elves, magic spells, and cool stuff. I go to Lord of the Rings. Love that trilogy. I thought the Solo movie was great. Where's the ban button? Seriously? You thought the Solo movie was great? Oh my god. I mean, it was okay for a popcorn flick, but plot-wise, that's so bad. The characters are mostly unlikable, except for the droid. He was quite funny, the sarcastic droid. And Lando. Lando was good. But the guy playing Solo is just not getting it right, and it just borrows on tropes. The biggest issue I had is, he makes a big deal at the start of the film, like, I will come back for you, I'll come back for you, love of my life, or whatever. And then about a third of the way through the film, she comes to him. So his whole reason for going back is completely gone. So they have to suddenly figure out, well, what else are we doing with this movie? And even then, he's so devoted to getting back to her. Their eventual reunion is like, oh, hi, good to see you. Yeah, move on with the plot. What? Seriously, I could not get into that Solo movie. I really enjoyed how Rogue One and Last Jedi introduced themes of rebels doing bad things and inserting some nuance into rebellion. Solo depicted the harsh side of war too. Only like a few cutscenes where it shows Solo in the war. I mean, fair enough. I much preferred Rogue One, but even Rogue One's got problems. I mean, the problem with Rogue One is that 1/3 of the movie is fantastic, and I would happily watch it over and over again without any second thought. The other 2/3 would bore me to tears. And that's basically, which acts I'm talking about. The first 2 acts are just boring. Not a lot happens. The characters are dull. The main character is a carbon copy of Rey with a couple of tweaks in terms of her backstory. And the rest of it is just like, I don't care about these other characters. They're all going to die. They're not brought in or built up or developed at all, because literally it's a case of, look, they're just here to make a team. And so you don't get invested. It's just a bit of exposition and sort of like dragging out chats for 10 minutes when it could be done in 60 seconds. But then you get to the 3rd act when they actually go and do the mission, and it's some of the best Star Wars action I've ever seen, with the infantry combat and the space combat, like things coming out of hyperspace and crashing into ships and pushing ships into other ships. I mean, that was brilliant. And I won't spoil, but the bit I'm talking about at the very end, when he arrives. Oh my god, that's good. I do love that. So, as I say, Rogue One, 1/3 of it is 10 out of 10. And the other 2/3, they're like, will I make a review of The Gallerist? Have I not done that one? Have a peek on my videos and see if I have. I'm not sure if I've done a review of The Gallerist. I thought I had, although I do talk about it on Top 100s. I could do, we'll see. Great to mate, got to do, dinner is served. Oh yeah, that's a point, 6 o'clock. Maybe that's cutting into people's dinner times. We'll see, but, well, only if you're in Britain, I guess. But no, cool. Cheers for coming on the stream, geek. But review of The Gallerist. Yeah, I mean, it's... will I do one? Well, again, it's time permitting, but I suppose I could put a poll out, or maybe like on the next Q&A stream, I could say, right, make a list of games that I've got that people have not got reviews for, and I could do some. I mean, Runestones is definitely one I think I should do. It's relatively unheard of, I think it's underrated, and I think it needs some love. Gallerist gets a fair amount of love, but I could do a review of that at some point. I guess it's just finding the time, because I can't I'm only doing one video a week. So I got to space it out and have a life. So if I do these reviews, they will probably be a live stream review where I just talk about it live, which is an interesting idea. Has anybody ever done a review live? I'm not sure anybody has. I'm interested to see if that's a thing I could take advantage of. But failing that, I could also go on the podcast and spend half an episode talking about the game, giving it a review. So like a very quick run through of the detailed format of duration, ease of play and that, and then come up with a verdict. And that could work, because then I could just bring up a few pictures on the PC and that should be fine. So we'll see. All right, well, let's see. Runestone and Gallerus. So we got those for now. Yes, I love Lord of the Rings for classic fantasy. It does everything you can ever need. FFG explored the world really well, compared it to the Harry Potter games. Ooh, yeah, I don't know any decent well, I have not played the deck builder, but I haven't really gone mad for any Harry Potter games. The closest thing I've got is Argent the Consortium in the corner, which is kind of like Harry Potter anime. But I like the Harry Potter movies fine. You know, I've got the collection downstairs. I've not read the books, but I enjoy the movies, although it's very tricky. It's very hard to watch the first two movies before the kids have come of age, because the thing's a bit too kiddie at that point. But from Prisoner of Azkaban onwards, I'm fine with it. You know, I'm happy with the series. But let's be honest, you watch it more for the fact that you enjoy wizards, magic, and the fact that the adult cast is A-list perfect. The kid actors, apart from a couple, are kind of just kid actors, and they're doing what they're doing. You know, nobody's ever really claiming that the main three leads are particularly great actors. But you want to watch it because there's Alan Rickman, and there's Ralph Fiennes, and I forget half of the other names, but, you know, I mean, the characters of Dumbledore and Miss McGonagall and half of the other ones, which are done by, like, top A-rated English cast members. They're the thing that keeps the Harry Potter franchise going. Is Argent soloable? I don't think it is. To my knowledge, I don't think so. I've never seen anyone try it, but no, I'm pretty positive it's not soloable, and it's usually like a 2 to 5 player game. Have you played any of the Disney Villainous games? No, but I would like to try one. I mean, I thought they were pretty much just for kids, so they wouldn't necessarily have much to go on, or, you know, like much in them. But I like Disney movies, the animated films, not the horrible live remakes. I've just been watching a Nostalgia Critics Lion King remake review also, which is actually pretty funny. I recommend giving it a watch, but God, I hate that remake. That Lion King remake was so bad. But I would like to try some of the Disney Villainous games, just to see what it's like. You know, the idea of going, I can pick one of my favorite Disney villains and play that and see how it works. The main thing I hear is that it's a little bit long for what it is, for quite a simple game, and has, like, you know, everybody plays very differently. But we'll see. Battery's getting rather low, so let's see how much time have I got on the battery. 4 minutes remaining. All right, so not gonna plug this in. So I'm just gonna answer one question and then shut this stream down. Oh, yeah, the casting of Harry Potter was on point, similar to Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I mean, the casting is really good for these movies. I can't think of particularly bad cast, but yeah, I think we're up to like 40, 50 minutes, so I'm going to wrap up there. I mean, thank you, Geek Jesus, Avala, and I know there was another person in chat earlier who has come on the stream. I mean, it's a shame that there aren't more people on, but I mean, I suppose European dinner time and Gen Con Online, I think it's just taking a few people out of the work, so maybe I shouldn't do streams at 6 o'clock BST in future. Be interesting to see. I had more people on the previous streams than this one. We'll see whether I get a bunch on Saturday at 8 o'clock and see if it's it. That's it. Cats. Sorry. My memory like a sieve. I don't want to forget people. So, all right, I don't want this stream to cut off as a result of me forgetting that the battery's low. So thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, it's only a game, and next stream is at Saturday at 8 o'clock. If you want to see me go through Tainted Grail and just have a chat with me then. Saying that, check out more video content, more podcast content, share the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and take care. You know, thank you for being around. Meow. Meow. I haven't got a cat, unfortunately. I could do with one. All right, take care, guys. Love you all.